You're listening to Power Talk, Berkeley Electric Cooperative's official broadcast about the cooperative, our communities, and ways to use energy wisely. And now, let's join our hosts for today's episode. Welcome to Power Talk. I'm your host, Micah Ponce, the communications guy with Berkeley Electric Cooperative. And today I'm joined by my co-host, Miss Libby Roerig, our marketing and communications director. Libby, say hi to everybody.
Hey, everybody.
For today's episode, we'd also like to welcome our special guest, Dr. Anthony Dixon, the superintendent of the Berkeley County School District. Mr. Dixon, welcome to the show, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Well, to get this rolling, I guess, why don't you give us a little bit of background about, how you got into education, how you ended up in this role, how you ended up at Berkeley County?
Yes. So I am originally from Roerig County, Conway, Ainer, South Carolina, and I started here in '96 and have been stuck in the Low Country ever since.
Stuck? What do you mean stuck?
It's a good stuck. I went to the College of Charleston, and I came as a business major, political science major, with the hopes of, the ambition of going to law school. Mm-hmm. I have both parents are educators. And my senior year of undergrad, I took an elective course, which was an education course, and it was natural. It took a liking to it. And the professor who was the interim dean, Fran Welch of the College of Education at the College of Charleston, mm-hmm. asked me to have you ever thought about going into education? I said, no, because my parents said I was going to law school. And she convinced me to go to graduate school and get my master's in teaching. But I needed to get the blessing of my parents. But they were all for it, and they were supportive. They just wanted to make sure I finished in 4 years. Undergrad. So after my master's, I went and became a teacher of students with special needs for learning disabilities and severe emotional disabilities. And I was a teacher in Charleston County and Berkeley County. That'll be a pattern in my career. And I taught at Meminger Elementary, and I came to Berkeley County, St. Stephen's Elementary School. And then I became an assistant principal here in Berkeley County. I just connected with Berkeley County when I got to St. Stephen. It felt it just felt like home. It was quaint. I loved the town, and I just had a great experience. And after my stint as an assistant principal, I was offered an opportunity to go back to Charleston County as a principal at 2 elementary schools there, Meminger and Sanders Clyde. And then I came 6 years later back to Charleston.
Back to the best county.
Back to Berkeley.
Back to Berkeley, the best county.
There we go.
Yep. Yes, definitely.
And so here I am.
Yeah. Well, Berkeley Electric is just growing in leaps and bounds. We serve portions of the Tri-County, so not just Berkeley County,
right.
Charleston and Dorchester. And
we love you too, Charleston.
Yes, and Dorchester. In co-op terms, we say we're growing by a small co-op every year. So, a small co-op, maybe 4,000 to 7,000 meters, and we add that in homes and businesses every year. So I'm sure that growth translates equally to the Berkeley County School District. What's kind of it like to be at the school district these days?
It does. It translates in Berkeley County. We are one of the fastest growing school districts in counties, in South Carolina. But we're dominated. Our growth is really dominated by large residential developments. Mm-hmm. And so the translation for us as a school district is about 650 to 1,000 new students each year. And that's what is being projected. So we definitely feel the same pinch I think you all feel with the booming growth.
Yeah. So is that kind of the equivalent of adding a school every year?
That's
in population?
It's about, in population, 650 to 1,000 is about a school.
Yeah, mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah. And I bet it's just pretty fluid for you guys. You're just shifting kids.
Shifting kids, bringing in learning cottages.
Right.
Back in the day, we called them portables, right?
Yes.
And, looking at the best areas, how we can, look at our attendance lines. And some of it is increased class sizes. We do have an area that has an overflow, but we work on that by, expanding and adding new, air wings to those areas, et cetera.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, this type of growth, we're feeling the same, pressures that everybody else is, and you have to pay for it somehow. And my understanding is that local voters approved a penny tax, reapproved the penny tax last year in November. And now for the folks who are listening, you may not be familiar. A penny tax is a 1 cent sales tax option that's used to fund public works like roads and schools. So can you give us an idea of sort of what the funds from the penny tax will be used for?
Yes. And so that was a huge, win, and it showed like the shared values of the district and our residents and the county. And we are very appreciative of the voters for voting for that penny sales tax. But it's 7 years of funding and revenue towards capital projects. And so for us, that will equate to within that 7 years, building 3 new schools, additions to 4 schools, so we can answer the growth and also make very much needed renovations and additions. And also we'll do improvements to our high school athletic fields to make sure that our students have world-class facilities, and they're safe and they meet all the requirements and the growth that we are seeing.
Yeah.
I know one of the challenges for some of the schools is that they're sort of landlocked. I mean, you talk about some of the, I know Berkeley, obviously right up the road from us, they're sort of landlocked where they can expand. Stratford has sort of been landlocked. So, I mean, I imagine that is a challenge trying to find ways to get those improvements in there when you have a very restricted footprint.
Yes, that is. And so we have a really dynamic team. Like, for instance, one of those, Hanahan Middle is one of those challenging areas, but we have a team that has been giving the authority by our school board to go ahead and start looking at and pursuing how do we tackle that and address that need to build these much needed additions, given the circumstances, the lack of land or staging areas for equipment, and how do we build that and schools still run smoothly and efficiently. So we have to bring a great group of people together, and it will take a lot of collaboration with that town, that area, the school community, and the constituents in that area to make this happen for our students.
Yeah, and it's got to be such a great feeling as the leader of the school district, to have this vote of confidence from the voters. I worked in a former life as a newspaper reporter and covered the local schools in Carleton County, and they were under order by the Justice Department to desegregate their high schools because they had 2 high schools in the county, and they had not been desegregated, so they needed to, in some way, combine the schools. And they put up referendums after referendums, and they kept getting voted down. And they finally had to get really creative with the funding of this project, and they were finally able to build Carleton County High School. A testament to the leadership of Charles Gale, who was the superintendent at the time. I don't know if you know Charles, but great guy. But so when I see no trouble, this penny tax passing, that's got to feel really good.
It does, and with that vote of confidence, it even makes us more cognizant of we have this confidence from our community and our voters, and they've entrusted these funds to us to make sure that we get it right. We build good schools, and we not only build those schools, but we make sure that we fill them with high quality leaders and teachers, and then so we can get that trust, so we can do it again. And also it should feel good because even given a time where there's so many differences in people. Like this is where it's our common ground that we all recognize that there's we have an influx of people, we have growth, and now we're all on one accord to let's build some schools and let's renovate and add 2 schools and let's fix these facilities. So that's a good thing.
Yeah. As a mom, my son's a 2nd grader at Westview. It gives me a lot of hope in the community, that we live in a place where people value education and are willing to put their pennies behind it, literally. Okay. And, where are we going to be in 20 years when these kiddos have a great experience and great teachers and great facilities, and where will we be? Yeah,
you're putting out, you're creating these world-class facilities and able to build some efficacy and putting out students. I have my son goes to school in Westview schools as well. He's a middle schooler there.
Okay.
And so you want them, you want our county to have great students who love where they live and appreciate where they went to school and come back and either work or give back here and let that cycle continue. I didn't feel that, we were encouraged to go off to school and explore the world, but there's so much value in coming back home and giving back to your community and investing in it. So there's a lot of value there.
And there's a ton of opportunities. We'll talk more about workforce development in a minute, but more and more jobs come to the region, great paying jobs with great benefits. But let's dig a little bit more into the school growth plan. We are looking to alleviate some of the population stress in the Cane Bay area. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we're going to build a K-5 school on Black Tom Road in the Jedburgh area.
Right. We are. So we have, as soon as we got the nod with the penny sales tax, we immediately came together and worked with the board to, start being good stewards of those funds and letting our voters know that we are serious about it and we're going to take this opportunity. We're not going to take it for granted. And so we went to the boards for approval to start actively, with intention pursuing what we call a phase 1. And so we are just breaking it up and getting the approvals there. But it is an elementary school that it will be on the Black Tom Road, Jedburgh area. We also are looking at and exploring, ensure that we meet all the requirements to have a middle school in the Nexton area. Those are, some of our
high growth
at quick and exponential amounts, and then renovating and expanding Hanahan Middle School, who it hasn't been remodeled. I was telling a group of Leadership Berkeley participants today that 60 years that it hasn't had a serious renovation addition or remodeling. So I think those will be our first 3 in that phase 1.
We can definitely feel those pains because we're in a new facility now here and where we've got our nice little recording studio where we're coming to you live today. But with Berkeley Electric, in our Moncks Corner location, some of the original buildings were 70 years old.
Yes.
And we were spread out throughout 5 or 6 buildings throughout Moncks Corner because we had sort of, outgrown, and it does make a difference to your everyday work environment, your everyday school environment, to be in a quality building and have those resources and the facilities available to you. It does make a difference on a day-to-day. I can only imagine that would benefit the students as well.
Yeah. And a testament to you guys being good financial stewards, taking a school that's 60 years old and getting more life out of it and, creating that environment for kiddos to learn.
Yes. And, the Hanahan community and those schools have traditionally been very successful. And so we want to make sure that they're up to date with all of the bells and whistles
latest and greatest,
that schools have, so they have the same opportunities that some of our newer schools are being built have.
Now, it might be news to our listeners, and was actually kind of news to me, is that we recently energized the Carnes Elementary School.
We did.
Just the other day, preparing it for the 2023-24 school year. So, lots of growth, lots of exciting things happening. What's it like when you open a new school?
So I've had that pleasure twice. Once to begin the development of building a new school, and then I came into a school like 6 months after it was built. But at Philip Simmons Middle, I was the first principal and was hired to open that school. And the principal who is at a new school that's opening it has a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to really it's so exciting because you're building everything, the culture. You're bringing a community together from like in the instance of Carnes, so many different areas, and you're bringing them together in one building, one community. You're going from not just picking out brick, tile, the color schemes, the furniture, but you're picking out what's going to be the school colors, the mascot. They're naming the mascot, and all of that excitement, getting everybody, like you're developing the rules, for the school, the expectations. You're setting like the standard and starting it off, and that's it's just an exciting once in a lifetime, educator, leader opportunity. So I'm sure the principal is just as ecstatic as I get just thinking about my experience.
Well, the important question is, what is the mascot going to be?
Oh,
have they decided yet?
The mascot is a sea turtle. Yes. And so we had an opportunity maybe a couple of months ago to go down to the South Carolina Aquarium, and we did a big reveal there because they have the hospital, the turtle hospital, and some divers dove down and they got to bring up the mascot, and the mascot was out there all ready and waving, and so it was fun.
Well, we have the wonderful privilege to be able to go into some of our schools, and we've spent some time over at Fox Bank here recently. And so if anybody from Carnes Elementary is listening, I would highly recommend the regular use of confetti cannons. It's like you never see somebody who's eating ice cream having a bad day. It's like you cannot have a bad day when a confetti cannon is involved.
Goes off, you have to smile, right?
As long as you've got to point it in the correct direction. I've seen a whole lot of those YouTube videos where things can go badly if you don't have it pointed in the right way.
And that paint, have you been to a color run?
Yes.
Yes. So, that's a little more, but you can't go wrong with a little paint, powdered paint on your skin as well.
Well, so we've talked a little bit about the first phase of the school building plan. What's the next parts look like?
Yes, so we have this phase trying to take us into August, to 2026, but once we get this phase underway, the board just gave us, the permission to move forward and pursue that first phase.
Okay.
So we'll get that going some, and then we'll come back to the board and look at what is left within those projects.
Okay.
And we will together develop the priorities for our next phase. So we'll kind of take it like one bite at a time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
A chunk at a time.
Well, it's an exciting time to be at Berkeley County School District.
And we've talked about a lot of residential growth that's happening in the region. And Libby, we've been seeing a lot of comparable economic growth that's happening as well. I mean, what are some of the stuff that's happening on Berkeley's system that sort of influences and fits in with all the other growth that's going on here?
Yeah. So we have a couple of guys in our department actually who help with economic development. And they were so excited that the area was able to land Redwood Materials, which will bring in 1,500 new jobs to their battery recycling plant. But Volvo is also set to add 1,300 new jobs in Ridgeville for their all-electric SUV. And it just seems like once a week we hear about another plant that's going to add another couple hundred jobs, or another few megabytes to our load, or megawatts rather, not megabytes, but
computers, electricity, all the same stuff.
So I'm sure the school district is equally engaged in these conversations about how to answer those workforce needs. They are. What do you got going on?
Yes, we are. We, once you're excited about these increase and expansion and adding, new jobs to the county, because it just gives us more opportunities for that we can provide for our students. So what we try to do is through our career technical education and our high schools and our adult ed and just ensuring that we are having constant conversation with our industry. So we can, hear the types of, employees that they want, and see where our gaps are or what we need to do to make sure that we are making them work ready, and those that want to go to college or they want to go straight into the workforce, that we have all of these opportunities in terms of internships, work-based learning programs, apprenticeships, and trying to develop and expand those partnerships with within the industry. And for instance, we have a strong welding opportunities. As CTE, we're working in collaboration for a lineman program, and we're also working in collaboration with Trident for cybersecurity. That's in addition to all of the programs that we have now, but hearing, staying engaged with our industry, and sending representatives to sit in on the board meetings for industry or any of the collaborative meetings that they have, so we can just make sure that we are doing what we can to add the right programs or improve the programs that we have, and attract more students and teachers in those fields. So what the addition for their jobs gives our students additional opportunities in high school for, I would have never imagined the amount of certifications and being able to get dual credit, college credit, that students have now, even in my, our 25-year difference with from high school. It's
my niece, my wife's niece, is at Berkeley High School, and she has been doing the computer programming track, and I mean, those opportunities weren't available. I mean, she's actually, I think, basically topped out. She's gone through everything and is looking for more. But to be able to give her that kind of a leg up on her career, I don't think she even had really considered doing that until she got exposed to it at high school. It wasn't even on the radar. But then when she came across the opportunity, she fell in love with it, and now that's what she's looking forward to doing as a career once she gets out. And then my daughter also took, like you mentioned, the dual credit stuff. My daughter took advantage of the dual credit programs while she was a senior in high school, and was able to she graduated a semester early in part because of those dual credit. And I want to thank you for that, because that saved me.
Micah, how much money did that save?
That saved me some tuition money right there. So thank you, Berkeley County School District.
Yes. And, like EMS, we have an EMS program, and it's they get some real hands-on training as high schoolers, and are ready, getting them workforce ready, even learning, specific soft skills that is important when you're working with, groups of people, or if you have to work independently, how to remain productive, and how are you just a good employee? So we want to make sure that our 12th graders, they graduate and they become good work, in the workforce, and great adults, and, contributors to this great county.
Berkeley Electric played a small support role in the welding program at Timberland. We wrote a couple of checks to help get that going, and we were so pleased to hear recently that those students are just getting snatched up and are in high demand. That's really a full circle thing for us to hear of a need and be able to play a small part, and then just hear how it's changing these kids' lives by having great jobs.
It is, and they're asking for us to expand, to offer more students these programs. So it's just, specifically the welding program.
Yeah.
And it's when we're trying to match that demand to make sure that we have enough teachers or enough space, that's a good problem to have.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
As a cooperative, one of the things that we're very involved with is supporting our communities. And one of the ways that we do it is education. You'd mentioned we're supporting the welding program. At one point, we were actually also leasing out our electric vehicle to some of the rural schools to use for driver education. And those are just some of the things. I mean, scholarships. For those of you who are listening, we do have the Operation Roundup Trust scholarships.
Yep.
We're taking applications for those right now. We're offering 10 scholarships at $2,500 a piece to graduating seniors to do a little bit to help that. And actually, we just got through working with our statewide organization through the Pay It Forward program, and that's where they challenged honors students at South Carolina State and University of South Carolina and a couple of other places to come up with programs to address social and economic programs or problems in rural communities.
Wow.
And one of the winners at South Carolina State just actually happened to be a Berkeley Electric member from Somerville. So we were extremely proud. Princess Tisdale of Somerville. And she and her group were trying to find ways to encourage rural entrepreneurship in those communities. So once you graduate, coming back to the community, starting a business and enriching the community. So it all, very full circle with a lot of the things that we're talking about.
Sure. Yeah.
That's exciting. And we can't, as a district, thank you enough for that partnership and just your giving and support. Not just the financial is great, but in terms of the opportunities that you're giving our students at all ages. And I was principal at Phillips Simmons High. We received that electric car for our driver's
That's
ed.
true. Yeah.
Yes, and that was very fun. I remember getting that presented with that the key in the car came out there. And so those opportunities and it seems maybe small, but they're huge for a school and for the students. And so thank you.
Oh, our pleasure.
Yes.
To say the least. Well, we're sort of coming to an end of the pandemic, but what sort of challenges do y'all are still seeing for the schools and the teachers post-COVID?
So the challenge that we're, I guess, seeing, in my opinion, is just being able to completely move beyond pandemic and that word and just be in the moment now. It's post the pandemic, but what are we doing right now to address the needs? And so how we are facing tackling that, it's Berkeley County School District, is to put our focus on making sure that our core business is about teaching and learning. And so I say core business and then teaching and learning, and when you think about the core, we think about the meat of the main dish, in our students' academic career, and so we want to ensure that we are providing everything or doing everything we can to ensure that core business of teaching and learning remains at the forefront, is strong, and everyone has the resources to deliver, provide strong teaching and so students can have strong learning. And so how we want to ensure that is to answer the call of the teacher shortage and make sure every student is taught by a highly qualified teacher and led by a highly qualified principal. And that also, we're making connections and have been speaking to all our different groups in the district. And it's, we say teaching and learning, but everybody plays a part. If our students don't get there in the mornings on the bus, we can't start teaching. If they're not well, so we need strong nurses. We need bus drivers. Our cafeterias need to be filled. So we just want to ensure that we have all of the right adults on board to be able to really hone in on teaching and learning. And then we want to make sure that the ones that are delivering instruction, that are doing the teaching, have all the skills. So we'll be able to, provide them with the training, the opportunities for professional development, and then allowing our teachers to be what they went to school to be, and that's an expert. They're the experts, allowing them to, teach in the classroom, and allowing our leaders to hold them accountable and be held accountable, and to supervise making sure that we are teaching the right things and we have the best resources in front of us, and our students have the best opportunities.
Well, believe it or not, that's 30 minutes, folks. That's a whole show. So thank you for tuning in, and we're going to have to invite Dr. Dixon back. We got a lot more to talk about, apparently. So
yeah.
Thank you all for joining us at Power Talk. I am Micah Ponce, and this has been another edition. Tune in next time. Thank you very much.